Chris Nolan on choosing Travis Scott as the Bard in the Odyssey, basically the sort of musical narrator. Here he is. He's been doing a lot of interviews lately, and he's asked about this. It's the casting has been very controversial. He's going to be defending this during all the press. Let's hear what he has to say. I'm really curious if they'll have a U.S. premiere. They had one in London. I wonder if their whole premiere tour is over. We shall see. But here's what he has to say about that.
I didn't even get to ask you about Travis Scott, but for the next interview, really cool to see him in this film.
Yeah, very cool. Well, to me, the idea of oral formulaic poetry, that feeling to most academics for the last 100 years or so, that's the basis on which these things were handed down. And it's such an important part of the film. As
it's the first line.
Seen it. So I'd worked with Travis before, and it felt very apt to have a rapper, playing the bard in that way.
I didn't even get to ask you about Travis Scott, but
yeah, okay. What do you think of that, Alan?
Is he going to rap?
And I did. So he's worked with Travis Scott before. When?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyways, what do you think? And it's the first line in the movie, Travis Scott. So there's I don't know if that's considered a spoiler. Whatever. First line. That's who we hear from. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, is he going to rap or is he just going to be a bard? I think that's the question people have been commenting on is rap going to be really authentic to the period, which it's not. Maybe he's just playing it straight. Who knows? We'll see. It's just one of those, I don't care. Just put the movie out.
No, I do care. But let me tell you why. Is this going to take us out of the movie? Yeah. That's the thing. Will it take us out of the movie? And there are certain shows when I see like Bridgerton, and I've watched some, those sort of Victorian period dramas. They're kind of fun. And when I've watched them, I've been forced to watch them. Things like Downton Abbey and whatnot. But is it going to take you out of the movie? Is the casting going to take you out of the movie? Is the modernity of the film going to take you out of the story? Is the lack of the music, let's talk about the accents. Chris Nolan and Tom Holland on using modern language in the Odyssey. I have a clip, but what were you going to say? Sorry.
I was going to say, now that it slipped my mind. Oh yeah. Look, if I was making the Odyssey, and knowing that there's not a lot of Odyssey movies out there, I think my first shot would have been to make the definitive version of the Odyssey. That in
go classic.
Yeah, go classic. Tell the story. Make it. Make everyone live up to yours, and we're just not getting that sense. And in fact, someone could come in afterwards and really tell the story of the Odyssey. The other thing is, they worked together on Tenet. He did a track.
Oh, okay.
And there's an original rap song for the film done by him and Ludwig Göransson. So
will that be over credits? I assume at the end.
Probably.
Will it be nominated?
Yeah.
Or maybe
it'll be the Broadway opener that Homer had imagined when he wrote Odyssey.
Well, the American accents is something that has bothered me because I know this is like a wild thing, and you and I are gonna give our out of the theater thoughts next week. But look, I always associate like films like that set in the Roman era. You've got people having British accents. I don't know why. It's not, and also, by the way, that's not historically accurate. They were speaking Latin, or maybe they should be speaking Italian, but it's something we've gotten used to over the course of, so many epic films set in ancient times. People tend to use British accents. It's become a trope of Hollywood. It's not reality, but it's sort of movie reality.
It's a decades long trope, by the way.
Right. So it's since the beginning of cinema. But here's where he talks about the modern language. People have criticized the use of the term daddy and dad, my dad, rather than father, a bit more formal. Let's hear what he has to say on this.
The language as well is very modern. It's a very contemporary, easy to access way of speaking. I mean, you say dad rather than father.
Sure.
I mean, what's the thinking behind that?
Because I wouldn't have even said father back in the day, would I? I would have been Greek, so it's no less correct.
People bring, when you look at this world, when you look at the ancient world, people tend to view it in weird ways. There's a lot of cultural prejudice. There's a lot of they're sort of elevating it because it's old, whatever it is. When you go to the poem, what you find is something that's really earthy and grounded and accessible. And so for me, in building the world of the film, what I talk to all the actors about is like, I want to center it on that and make it feel very fresh for modern audiences and do away with some of those assumptions that aren't based on anything logical. They're just, as I say, cultural prejudices or things over time. There's a lot of stylistically, aesthetically, people tend to look back to the Romantic era and art. A lot of paintings where people aren't wearing very much. They got a little bed sheet wrapped around them or whatever it is. And a lot of classical architecture, even though that wasn't the architecture of the Mycenaean period and things like that. So, we went back to what's in the archaeology. What does that tell us? And what gaps does that leave? What do we know about Homer's time? How were things portrayed in the earliest possible portrayals of that? And looking at how do you create a consistent and accessible world around that feels vital and credible and exciting to be in.
What are your thoughts, Alan, on what he had to say? I mean, he's just trying to say, he has a point, but I think it's going to turn some people off based on how we've been conditioned to see epics of this type and conditioned by previous Hollywood work. So does it work? I mean, I've heard something that I find is very telling. People say the movie is better on second viewing. So my theory is this: on first viewing, people are kind of
they're disorientated.
Yeah. That's how I felt on Oppenheimer too. Mm-hmm. And on repeat viewings of Oppenheimer and even other films like Tenet, I tend to like the movie better.
You're more relaxed going in.
More relaxed going in. First time kind of white knuckle. Like, what am I gonna? Is
this right? Is he doing this right?
Is Chris Nolan being confusing? Is he time shifting like he does in all his movies? Completely unnecessary way to tell stories. It does that all the time. That's part of the story of the Odyssey. But so are we going to see it the first time? Then you see it the second time. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to predict. I'm going to see it a second time, which I'm seeing it twice next week. It's going to bother the things that bother me on first viewing will bother me less on the second. And I suspect that other people who've made a similar comment will think that also. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? Grounded and accessible. The idea. Okay, so people know I have a seminary degree, and so I've studied the Bible, the Hebrew, the Greek, stuff like that, and you really the way you should be doing this as the definitive version of the Odyssey is to go back to the original text. And look, if in the original Homer, the words used for father, and they use words for dad, okay. But I don't know that that's true. I don't know that I don't know anything about the Odyssey and Homer, but I do know about how you translate ancient texts into English, and you're going for the actual meanings. Like when you do study the Bible, it's not our dad who is in heaven, it's our father. There are words that designate that this is a respectful father. I just don't, you're asking me to believe that that the Odyssey is written at a street level of Greek culture at that time. I mean, is that true?
Well, I think what he's trying to do is justify dumbing it down.
Justify choices.
He's justifying dumbing it down and making it accessible, as opposed to say if a Robert Eggers did this, he'd probably have it all done in Latin.
The problem is the idea that you dumb it down means that you believe your audience is dumb, because they're not going to understand the highfalutin language of ancient texts. No, give people more credit than that, especially when you're adapting an ancient text like this. I mean, that phrase, I know you said it and he didn't say it, but that's the sense you get is that Nolan doesn't believe that you can figure it out and that you're a moron, and we need to hold your hand while walking you through the Odyssey. And so they need to stop doing press. Just show the movie. And then someone out there, someone who knows how to make movies, make the definitive Odyssey after this, please.
My pick would have been Robert Eggers.
I don't know. I understand why you
did you get your confirmation for Monday?
Yes, I did.
Great. I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. I got my parking pass.
Christopher Nolan on Matt Damon's tattoos. Speaking about modern, check this out. And this is a
please stop doing press.
This is no. This is really a good. I like this. Okay. So a friend of mine who works in the industry, he's a below the line guy, has his number one piece of advice. James says this to everybody, to actors: don't get tattoos. It creates problems. It will help you not get cast in a movie. And it's an ongoing problem for filmmakers to cover up to actors' tattoos. Big actors, by the way.
Yeah. I should mention The Rock in Moana.
Well, he wore a skin suit. We'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what he has to say about tattoos on specifically Matt Damon.
Yeah, he's exactly the right place in his time of life and everything to do it. And I actually had a moment with him at his first wardrobe fitting. We'd been fitting all of the supporting cast, all the guys who play his crew and some younger actors and everything. And they all come in and they've all got tattoos, which is a nightmare for a period film. It means hours in check because you have to cover all that up and then put the costume on, and then rain and wind and, costume will rub it away. And I thought, okay, well, here's Matt, he takes his shirt off the fitting and he's got a fucking tattoo. And I was like, not you as well, like what? And it was, very small, tasteful tattoo, name of his children and all that, and he said to me, well, if I were to be perfectly honest, I thought my bare bicep days were over. I said, okay, fair enough. The truth is, I think they're just beginning, but, so yeah, little extra time in the chair. Yeah, he's exactly the right place.
Look, and by the way, I will reveal now to you, Alan,
your tattoo.
I do not have any tattoos. I have 0 tattoos, and I could never really kind of figure out if I wanted a tattoo, what to get. I thought about getting on right here, my shoulder, kind of going down, a Darth Vader tattoo at one point in the 90s. I was like, should I get a tattoo? I'm not going to get a tribal tattoo or some phrase. I'm just going to get Darth Vader. And I didn't go through with it. I could never decide on a tattoo to get. I'm not against them. I just don't have them. And I have seen so many bad tattoos in my life, dumb phrases, or this meant something at the time, now I got to erase it. I just thought, you know what? After seeing friends' experiences with tattoos, I never got one. I am tattoo free. I think not having a tattoo is the new tattoo. Now, I have seen some what I think are exceptional tattoos, really amazing ones, but those, unfortunately, I think are rare. Do you have any tattoos?
And they're not actors. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen you half naked. We've shared a hotel room. Yeah. I never saw a tattoo. Did I miss something?
Well, maybe next time when we're fully naked. No, I'm not. Again, no shade against people with tattoos, but it's just not my thing. I can't think of anything I would want to put on my body that I would be proud of and feel cool. But that's my choice. That's me personally. And I just oh yeah, I have a friend who does tattoos, who likes tattoos, and the way he described it, getting tattoos is like a drug addiction. Once you get the first one, you got to get the second one, and you got to keep going, and you got to keep going, and it's hard It's hard to stop. And then again, they're so in the pure sense, they're permanent. So, you're stuck with whatever you do. And I'm just not that type of person to say, yeah, this is what I want on my body for the rest of my life. And knowing how my body has fluctuated over the years, even more so.
Yeah, your tattoo might change.
Yeah. Might turn gay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Was Christopher Nolan taken aback by the Odyssey backlash? She's finally been asked about it. This is an article from the Telegraph. I know we have notes, Alan.
Yes.
If you bring those up, for some reason images are not loading on this story, but here it is. You have the notes. You have the notes.
All right. Christopher Nolan is brushing aside the online backlash surrounding the Odyssey, saying the controversy is simply part of adapting one of history's most beloved stories. Months before its release, the film became the latest target of an online culture war, with YouTubers and social media commentators criticizing its casting choices and creative decisions before seeing the finished film. Nolan doesn't appear concerned by the criticism. Comes with the territory, he said with a smile. He argued that the pre-release debate is ultimately meaningless because audiences are judging the film they actually haven't seen. These conversations that happen before people see the film, they're always irrelevant because no one having them knows what the film actually is yet. Rather than trying to win over online critics and YouTube commentators, Nolan said his only goal is to create the strongest adaptation possible while staying true to Homer's epic. You can't worry about any of that at all. What you have to do is honor the original text by interpreting it in the strongest way you can personally can.
Well, what do you think? And I love.
Yeah, we just talked about it. That's what I think.
we kind of did. But Chris Nolan, if I owned a smartphone, I'd be horribly addicted. He doesn't own a smartphone. And I remember one time, this is early when smartphones kind of were taken over. And Schwarzenegger said, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, beloved actor, Conan, Predator, governor of, once governor of California. Schwarzenegger said of cell phones, I don't want to be at someone else's beck and call. I'll call someone I'll get back to someone when I'm available to have a phone call. He saw a cell phone as being slave to that. Like people can reach you anytime they want. And he didn't like it. I think Chris Nolan, the way he's able to be so productive and so prolific as a filmmaker is focus. Now I'm certain someone has a phone that is an assistant to get to Nolan, but that assistant is a screener for everyone. It's probably his wife, his producer, Emma Thomas. So, and she screens all that for him. Yeah. It's cell phones are, they solve a lot of problems. They create a lot of convenience, but I think in the end, it's a double-edged sword, and he's good on him for not owning a smartphone and being a slave to others. And then even like looking at what people are saying about him in the Odyssey. So yeah, I mean, he's got to be it's bubbled up beyond the internet, beyond X, beyond YouTube videos into articles being written about the Odyssey. It is going to affect it in some way. We're really going to see. I mean, I really, and a lot of what he's saying, I don't think he even knows when he says he's making it for a modern audience. He doesn't know that that's kind of triggering to some people. We don't want modern stuff. We don't want modern audience. And when he says modern audiences, you know what he means? He means younger people, which as younger people read fewer and fewer books. I mean, I guess trying to appeal to a younger audience, maybe as a way to get them interest in actually reading the book, although which version you're going to read, we're going to see if it actually works. Alan, what do you think about what he had to say?
Okay, so I've not seen the movie. But based on what I've seen so far, clearly Christopher Nolan is out of touch with the audience.
Yes.
Not a commentary on the film itself, but with the things he says, the things he does, the word that's getting out, it is not connecting or resonating with the audience in any way that's positive. And that's a huge problem. And maybe if he had a cell phone, he'd be better at it than that. You know, and let's make the assumption that this is the definitive version. Well, he's not selling it right. Absolutely not. He's actually turning people off to the movie because he doesn't understand that audience. At the same time, if let's just say it's a really bad movie, and and he is out of touch with the audience. Well, good. You're saving a lot of people a lot of money. So congrats on that one.
Movie